Welcome, Jyotika, to Voices of Westminster. I'm Shikha Rastogi, and we are very excited to have you as a part of the Voices of Westminster. Thank you for
Thank
being
you
a
so
part
much
of it.
for having me. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. So, I just wanted to, have few questions and just dwell upon them, and then have, uh, based on them, we'll have good conversations. So, basically, what does Westminster mean to you?
So Westminster is my home. I've lived here for 13 years. We came here when I have three boys. My oldest was 3 when we came here, and 2 of my boys were born here. So we've made Westminster our home. When I was in Township Council, I remember that I met so many people, and during the election campaign as well, I walked 8,000 homes and met almost 10,000 people, and I got to hear about their issues, their problems. So that helped me to bond with Westminster in a special sort of way. It made my home feel extra special for me.
Oh, that's really nice. So, what makes Westminster unique?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's an amazingly diverse town. There are so many different nationalities, languages, ethnicities present here. So I think just its diversity makes it unique. But what enhances its uniqueness is that the different types of people who are so passionate about making a difference in their community. And that is a shared value amongst all these different people, and that binds them together. In whatever community service I do in the past and now, I've met so many different people who want to make a difference in their town. And these are people with similar value systems. That attracts people like them to this town, and that's the way the town grows. And also, this is the value that we pass down to the next generation. When our kids see us being a part of service to the community, and then that's what they learn as well.
I completely agree with you. It is such a diverse town. When I also came here, a few years back, I felt like home. I did not at all feel that, oh, I'm coming to a new town. I have to be, it was just so embracing. So it is, yeah, definitely Westminster is unique in those terms. So where do you see Westminster in 30 years, and where do you want to see Westminster in 30 years?
So, I hope that Westminster continues to be the wonderful place that it is right now in 30 years. I mean, I really enjoy living here. I see myself living here even when the kids go away to college and, go their separate ways. So my husband and I want to be able to settle here. And, it's everything, whether it's an individual or a town or an entity, it's always the good and the bad that sort of combine together to make it a whole. So we have to look at it from that perspective. We need to continue to work in the town to make it a better place to live and to enhance the quality of life of the town. There's going to be definitely much more development in town due to the affordable housing mandate. So
Yeah.
there are going to be more houses, there's going to be more traffic. All of that will grow. But I think that as long as we focus on, the positives that exist in town and continue to work with the challenge of it, enhancing the quality of life, whether it be, better parks and, better roads and lower taxes, sidewalks, bike lanes, community organizations like our art center, all of those entities, they help to enhance our quality of life. And I think as long as we keep focused on those and keep moving forward, I think we'll be fine.
So how do you think Westminster can improve based on whatever you said?
I think we're all sort of work in progress. We're all improving every day. We're come up against different experiences. And I see that because Westminster is an amalgamation of all its people, right? So as we move forward, we keep learning, we keep coming up against better and better experiences. And, so just focusing on some of our community organizations that help to bring people together, that help to bind people together, even though there's diversity, there's unity in diversity. I know that sounds a little cheesy, it's been overused, but I think that's really relevant for a town like ours because we're so diverse. But if we have those wonderful, organizations out there like yours or like the Art Center or, whether it's a sports organizations or the African American Parent Support Group and all of the different organizations that help to bring people together, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, I think so too, because I think we are moving in the right direction right now.
Yeah.
But I think it has to be more to be done than just, because everybody has to take a step forward then.
Right.
So is there someone in this town who has inspired you?
Many years ago, I decided that I would go down the path of community service. I wanted to serve the community. My son was about 2 or 3 years old when I stopped working full time. I do have a business degree. I worked full time, before that. But I wanted to serve the community, and it started off, with simple things at the school. As part of the school, helping the school, and then I became a PTA member, and then it was onwards to zoning board, to the township council, and now the art center and the township planning board. So I think that just some of these things. I'm sorry, I think I lost track of the question.
No. Somebody who has inspired you.
Yeah, so basically, yes. So I think I was on the right track. That so I see all these volunteer people around me, and who work tirelessly. I mean, the fire department, the people in other volunteer organizations, they work tirelessly to make this a better place. And so I think that's very inspirational to me. And that's something which eggs me on every day, and I wake up every day and I feel like, we can make a difference to whatever problems we face. So I don't think there's any one person, but all of these people around me, I think, are inspirational and motivational to me.
That's excellent, because I know that you are from Ahmedabad, right?
Yes, that's right.
Right. So imagine, you are an inspiration to many of the people there to give your time, and because it takes a lot of courage and a lot of passion to give what you had and come back to the community. So that's what is the inspiration, that you are inspiring others. And of course, there are multiple people that can inspire us, but commendable, I really applaud that part. So what's a word that comes to mind when you think of Westminster?
Well, to me, Westminster is home. So, that's really the word that comes to mind. And I think.
Oh, wow. That's a good word, actually. Yeah, that's nice. So where do you see yourself in the community of Westminster?
Yeah, like I said, that I think that I want to continue to remain in service, in community service. I tried my hand in politics, and it wasn't such a positive experience for me, although I think that I made a big difference in the quality of life of people when I was working on council. But I think I do want to stay out of politics, at least for now, but continue to work in the community as a part of community organizations, because I do think that there's a lot of power in these community organizations in bringing people together. And as of now, I'm board president of the Westminster Art Center, and I want to be able to leverage the Art Center to bring people together, because I think art has a lot of power in coalescing and bringing people together and unifying them. And specifically, as I said before, and I keep saying it, that I think in our town, the diversity in our town, such community organizations can really, truly make a difference.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'll piggyback on the thoughts that you just said about the art part, because since you're the president for the of the board for our WWAC, which is doing an amazing job. Like, I love West Winds Arts Council. 𝗪𝗲 Mosaic actually collaborated with the West Winds Arts Council a few years back for the event where we did it near the what was that behind what's that place called?
William?
Behind Panera Breads, like some, yeah. So we had the art contest there along with. So loved working with Eileen, and like, it was so nice. So what extent does art have the capacity to bring the communities together? So what do you think, like, to what extent?
Yeah, so I think that, art speaks its own universal language, right? You don't need to be of a certain ethnicity or a certain, nationality to be able to understand the art from another nation, from another ethnicity. So I think it has its own unique language. I don't need to be Italian to appreciate Da Vinci, or I don't need to be Spanish to appreciate Gaudi. I can still like the art that's produced by these amazing masters. And also art has, it speaks across time and generations. So, when you look at historical pieces of art, you go to these museums and, you're just wowed by all the creativity and the messaging that these artists have tried to convey. And this is also a language we can speak to the next generation in, and teach them that way. Also, I think the Art Center itself, the genesis of the Art Center is, it was basically an intent to bring the community together and to be able to create a gathering point where people could congregate to nurture their art, their whatever their medium was, and to let the creative juices flow. So right now, we do the MLK Day, the Cultural Kaleidoscope, the Autumn Arts Afternoon, and we have some wonderful projects which are coming up, even in this COVID-19 scenario, that are going to be very impactful. So I encourage people to go to the website and take a look at some of these events.
Oh, nice. Yes. So what do you think that art has a capacity to explore history?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, because I think that art is, like I said, art is a language, right? You speak in that language. So every time there has been some sort of event in history that has impacted humanity, humanity has used art to express itself,
Yeah.
right? And to channel its emotions. So in that way, art has a lot of power. So every time, whether it be the Renaissance period or, the progressive era, so people have used different forms of art to express themselves. Even and I'll take an example of an event right now that we're hosting. It's the Art and Healing exhibition by the Westminster Art Center. So we've invited works of art from different artists to express, healing, as well as to whether the healing might be from, the pandemic, or it could be healing from earlier on, whatever, event that you have gone through in your life, you express it via the arts. So in that way, art becomes a healing tool for people, and if you go online, you'll see, I think September 11 is our opening exhibition, and you will be able to see all the wonderful art that we've received from, I've had a sneak peek at it, 30 different artists. And it's amazing how those artists are able to express themselves through their art. So yes, I don't know if I was able to answer your question.
Yeah, definitely you are, yes, of course. This is something that I always feel, that art has more to do than just drawing and paintings. It gives you the culture. So, and that's what goes down the history. So definitely. So what do you think were the memorable events or the people that have touched the Westminster Out Council over the years?
There have been many wonderful people who've helped to shape the Arts Center the way it is today. I think the idea for the Arts Center started out sometime in 2002, and then finally it was put into place, incorporated. When I say incorporated, I mean as a non-profit in 2010. So, and then we went into the Arts Center building that is leased from the township. So it's been a long journey, and there have been some founding members, and there have been others who've came to the Arts Center, helped to nurture it, helped to nourish it, and then, went on their way. So I'm not an expert on the history of the Arts Center. There are many more people who know much more about it than I do, but I think from whatever anecdotes I've heard, I've heard some great things. And recently I learned that there was this gentleman by the name of Gary Snedeker, who's a major community presence in West Windsor. He recently passed away, and I learned that he helped to shape the Arts Center. He was one of the founding members, and he helped to shape the Arts Center. He was an artist amongst many other things that he was, and he actually provided something called fabulous forms, which were these wooden sculptures that he made in his own woodworking shop and provided to the Arts Center for the kids to paint on at the time of their spring exhibition.
Wow.
That was a very interesting story, and we remember Gary for many things, but at the Arts Center, we were especially touched by him in this particular the fabulous forms. So yeah, so I'm sure there are many other stories, but I think comparatively speaking, relatively speaking, I'm new to the Arts Center. I joined last year. In the board, and this year I became president, and I'm still learning about the history, which is quite wonderful.
Yeah, definitely. I think I got a chance to meet with few wonderful artists there during whatever small time frame I was as a part of the collaboration that we had, and it was so inspiring for me. I was like, wow, this is they were so much about giving back in forms of art. It was commendable. I was so impressed with that. So where do you see the Art Council in 30 years?
That I believe that the Arts Center will thrive. As long as the arts are thriving, I think that, so there are two different things. There's the arts, and then there's the Arts Center, right? So of course the arts will thrive. Arts speaks its own language, so it's never going away. It's always going to be there. And I think that the Arts Center will thrive. And the reason the Arts Center will thrive is because we have wide-ranging support from the residents and from the township both. This year we were going to be the recipient of the West Windsor Gives Back, which is a non-profit which is promoted by the mayor of West Windsor, Mr. 𝗵𝗵𝗿𝗄𝗏, and we were the designated organization. Unfortunately, COVID pandemic happened, and so that's our plans sort of went down the hill, but that is a sign of support from the township, and we're always in communication with the township. We lease the building that we are housed in, the farmhouse building that's leased from the township, and we're always in communication with them. It's a two-way process. We help the town and its residents, and the township helps us in different ways. And other than that, I think we have a caring and talented board members, and also we have a wonderful and hardworking staff. They're working hard even in the last few months. It's been quite a difficult period for us at the Arts Center, but we've all worked very hard, and I think we'll continue to do that as long as there is place for us in this township. And also, I think the other thing is that we try to stay on top of the community needs and wants. Whatever the community requires, whatever the community needs, we try to stay on top of that by way of our machinery, our staff, and we are also nimble enough to respond to some of those needs. To be on top of it, but are we doing something to execute on that? Yes, we are. We're constantly trying to figure out what the community wants and then trying to respond to that. So all of those things make us sustainable and continuous and an integral part of the township.
Yeah, definitely. So just going back to the same thing that you just talked about, the COVID-19 and the pandemic, which all of us have been dealing with so far. The Westminster Township has been dealing it very nicely. But in terms of the Art Council, what do you think how has Westminster Art Council adapted to COVID-19, given the social distancing expectations?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question, because I think it's an opportunity for me to explain us to the community in terms of how we responded. We actually went, as soon as this pandemic started, we realized that we would not be able to hold in-person classes and events, and that is really what the nuts and bolts of our art center is. So we went into contingency planning mode, and the staff came up with the virtual programming. And that is something that we are very proud of, because we pivoted immediately to provide that virtual programming to the community. We sensed the community need, and we pivoted to provide that the same wonderful programs virtually, and the same award-winning teaching artists teaching those programs. So we've obviously not been able to stay on top of our finances, because we've lost revenue due to in-person classes and camps not being there. But we've tried to continue to reach out to the community through virtual programming.
Yeah, and I think that the Art Council has done a good job in doing that, because I can see the presence.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And we've definitely gone up the learning curve in the last few months. It started in spring. We had a spring camp. So we launched it with some trepidation. We got some numbers, but going on to the summer camp and other summer classes, I think we've gone up the learning curve. There were some weeks when our enrollment was full, which was very heartening to us, the staff as well as the board. But I hope that it stays that way. And even past the pandemic, I think we'll continue to provide programming. I think it's early days, but we'll continue to provide programming virtually and of course in person as well once things start to open up.
Yeah, that's true. But it is important, because I can see the presence, because I've been a part of the social media, and I can see that unfortunately, whatever the situation happened, but all of you just, did not bother about it. You just went on to the second step. Okay, what is the alternative? Which is great. Yeah.
Great. I'm glad that you recognize that, because I think that's one of the crux of an organization. Its survival is that it's nimble enough to react and then adapt to change circumstances. So we've tried to do that. Again, like I said, I'm not going to say that, we're as good as we were. We are not. But so that is why we're reaching out to the community as well. It's a non-profit, and we do need the support of the community to continue, on this path. But I think that the way we've dealt with our programming also speaks to, our skills and our talents here at the Art Center.
Definitely, to adapt is very important, and you guys have done it very well. So please speak to the history of the WWAC Beyond. What's already written on the website?
I think, like I said, I'm not an expert on the history of the Art Center, but when when I meet up with some of these founding members or even the staff, I hear, these anecdotal stories, and they're very interesting to hear. I'll definitely say one thing that I really, really appreciate the commitment and the work ethic the founding members bring to the Art Center. These are people who years ago had the vision of starting the Art Center and to bring people together via the arts. That particular mission it's changed a little bit, but mostly the crux of it has stayed the same. It's still about bringing people together via the arts. And, the Art Center is these founding members' baby. The way they worked hard, whether it be, creating the policies for sustainability of the Art Center, or it's pulling weeds from the yard of the, behind the Art Center. They've done it all. And I think that work ethic and that commitment to the cause is something that I aspire to. And I think that I learned from, and that is something still present today. I really appreciate that.
Oh, wow. That was a nice thing to say. So thank you so much, Jyotika. It was such a pleasure talking to you, because we, as a community member and as a resident of West Windsor, I always feel that the Arts Council is an amazing place. And you, being the president of that and being the representative, being a member of that, makes a lot of difference, because people like you actually can take the Art Council to the next level. And yeah, definitely, because you need the passion and dedication to do that.
So, that vote of confidence, I do need it. It's a challenging time for us, but people like you and you yourself and people like you, we really need your support. And we do thrive on collaboration with other community organizations also. I just wanted to add this. I think I invite you, please come and talk to us, and let's see what else we can do. We've been talking to the African American Parent Support Group as well, and we have a wonderful project that we've launched recently, Art Against Racism, amongst others that I talked about earlier. And I'm reaching out to the community in general, the PTA, school PTAs in particular, so that we can, keep providing some of these services virtually till this pandemic is out of the way.
Yeah, definitely. And that is a good way, because we can collaborate and make things happen. So thank you, Jyotika, for being a part of Voice of West Windsor, and on behalf of Historical Society of West Windsor and SR Mosaic. I would really like to extend my gratitude to you. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, Shikha. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Take care.